Kreskel. After the fifth successful raid, no one questioned Kreskel's plans on which human settlement to strike next. Blood flowed, little else mattered. Even Riai, who had previously been a vocal adversary, had stopped challenging Kreskel's stratagem. Every village they visited vanished off the humans' map. The band sucked each town dry for everything that existed there, the resources, the buildings, and the humans themselves. In caring for their stock of humans through the desert, they had to be extra careful obtaining enough food and water. If they desired, each Reiseglai could have had their choice of 20 humans or more to keep as part of a personal stock. Riai had insisted on such not long after they raided Fagori, but Kreskel disliked the idea. The point is to sample a variety, and with 1,500 humans, we have plenty to choose from. Riai's humans must have delicious blood if Riai rejected their elitist philosophy of only hunting for blood so shortly after we collected them. The band collected humans with an extensive range of tastes to their blood. Hints of fruit and nuts and meat and grain. In the Reisig city-states, to have access to any assortment, they'd have to be aristocracy. To have such an exceptional variety, they'd have to rule in the city councils. Kreskel had yet to taste two similar flavors of blood, and it was paradise. It's helped the clutch to develop faster as well. Alfor interrupted Kreskel, poring over the contact's inked map.
Rana's returned. Gregon says it's time to go.
Kreskel observed the moon's light slipping through the cracks in the stone. Good. Gregon intercepted Kreskel leaving the nest.
Are you certain you want to attend? We're getting close to the end of the gestation period.
I'm certain. This will be the last until I've laid the eggs, Kreskel said regretfully. It's a shame my contact plans several more raids in the near term. Cultivating our ranks further will be worth the break, though.
Okay, be careful.
Gregon rested foreheads with Kreskel in a show of intimacy. I will. Of the band's 70 Reiseglai, 40 darted across cooling desert sands for the next Sovani town. Of those who remained, some kept watch and some rested for their guard shift the following day. By Kreskel's own cajoling, Gregon rarely assigned Kreskel the day shift and never the raid shift duty. With so many attending the raid, Kreskel expected everything to go perfectly. Some of the newer recruits towed barred carts that the band had previously seized. They'd need all of them for the size of the next town, Shasti. It's convenient the humans crafted trapping mechanisms against their own kind. All we have to do is take them. In Gregon's absence, Kreskel released the scent to proceed. Without a whisper, Shasti's sentinels disappeared into the night. If it hadn't been for the clutch, Kreskel would have been claiming victims with them. However, with the extra weight of the gestating eggs, Kreskel would be more of a liability during this phase. After Fagori, I will not be captured again. The next stage was about to begin when a fire broke out, igniting the underroof of a home. The flames licked between the wheat crawler shells, shattering them from the heat. Are any Reiseglai in there? The fire roared and woke dozens of residents. As the humans inspected the source of the flames, they caught Reiseglai lingering in the streets. Reiseglai! Why didn't they run as soon as the flames ignited? Despite Kreskel's condition, they plunged into Shasti, tearing claws through human flesh wherever they could reach. Kreskel reached one Reiseglai, staring transfixed by the flames. Go! Kreskel bashed them toward the shadows, toward safety. A woman thrust a spade at Kreskel's back. The metal bounced off their armored hide without injury. Kreskel sank teeth into the woman's neck and clawed her open. Mid-strike, a hoe jammed into Kreskel's fleshy hip joint. It hadn't penetrated far, but it was an irritation. Kreskel slashed the seedling who wielded the hoe. Blood leapt forth in 3 long stripes through his sack of a shirt. The seedling clutched at the wounds and fell into the sand to die beside the woman. Kreskel bounded away, searching for the next Reiseglai in need. Before Kreskel, blood drowned the town. Along Shasti's roads, Reiseglai threw mangled humans into the barred cages. The band slaughtered any human who fled town and added their corpses to the piles that blocked the road's exits. The fire had spread, but had since been quenched. Only a few houses had been affected. Still, humans fought on. One Reiseglai clawed at 5 humans at once. Kreskel brought claws down on the turned backs of 2 of them and forced the injured bodies toward the remaining humans, skewering another 2 holding a pitchfork and a scythe. The saved Reisigli released a sweet scent of gratitude and slew the remaining human. The band fought on, metal tools against claws and teeth, screams against scent glands, chaos against organization. Kreskel lost count of how many they slew. Several dozen? A half a gross? I don't think I've killed more than that. We've cemented a victory, but it was a messy one. After we drain those still living, we'll have to thoroughly search each house to ensure no one was hidden away. It would be a problem if one of them escaped and warned the other towns, not only of our threat, but also of our tactics. Kreskel moved to subdue the remaining humans. A spear shot from the ground and pierced Kreskel's underbelly, where the clutch gestated. The spear disappeared just as quickly. Shit! Fury tore through Kreskel. Baring teeth, Kreskel ripped the human who wielded the spear from the sewer. Kreskel raked claws down the human's face, purposely scratching their eyes and puncturing the throat. Then Kreskel jumped into the wailing human to crush the ribcage with powerful legs. To exhaust the enraged killing, Kreskel dug hind claws through the stomach repeatedly. The motion pained Kreskel, and a blue trickle of blood erupted where the spear had penetrated the tender skin. The wound hadn't been enough to incapacitate Kreskel, but it could have harmed the clutch. Kreskel retreated from Chosti to recover in the grassy fields. Climbing over the mountain of corpses had required Alfor's aid, but then Kreskel insisted on being alone. Alfor agreed and left to herd the remaining humans into the prison carts. Gently, Kreskel prodded the wound. It was raw and bleeding. Mixing with the blood was thin, pale albumin. How many did I lose? In rage and sorrow and exasperation, Kreskel released a horrifying combination of scent signals. We need to grow our numbers as quickly as possible. We can't be losing any fucking human. Kreskel mourned until the rest of the band was ready to head back. Good, Kreskel. You can help me drag the other leg of this cart, Raka called, but then Raka smelled the yolk dripping from Kreskel. What happened? It was hiding in the sewers. I'm assuming it's dead now. I ripped its plumbing out. How fitting. If it were still alive, I'd do the same. Or gift it to Gregon for the pleasure. Kreskel didn't want to think of Gregon, just of the ruined clutch. There are 7 healthy eggs between you and Gregon. Puya released a pleasant celebratory odor. It could have been 8. A great honor to both of us. Instead, I'm cursed with mediocrity. It's for the best that Gregon retains the prestige to maintain leadership. Gregon had 4, then. Kreskel heaved and struggled to look up at their 3 precious eggs. Are you ready to meet them? Yes, I'll rip the sacks. Kreskel gently opened each. The first had a dark orange hide that resembled a mix between Gregon's and Kreskel's hides. The second was pure black, like Gregon. The last was bright orange, like Kreskel. The remnants of the broken egg had spots of both black and orange. At least the one with the silliest coloring perished. To Puya, Kreskel said, I'm going to give them their first feeding. Call for me if you need help, Puya offered. I'll relay the news to Gregon. Thank you, Puya. Kreskel gathered the mewling hatchlings and stumbled down to the seedling pen. Kreskel balanced the 3 of them in a single forearm hold and scrambled into the enclosure. The hatchlings were all limbs and couldn't even stand if they tried. Kreskel propped them against the pen wall and snatched a screaming human seedling. Release my brother! A dark female seedling hit Kreskel's leg with useless little fists. Kreskel kicked the female seedling into the crowd and drained the boy. Kreskel scooped up the dark orange hatchling first and positioned the human child's wound near the hatchling's mouth. The hatchling sniffed the blood in the air and blindly navigated to the food source. Kreskel's heart opened to the runt, and the hatchling was the most treasured living creature to Kreskel then. The hatchling connected to the unconscious boy and slept longer than was advisable for the boy's health, but Kreskel couldn't deny the hatchling the blood. If he died, so what? There are more humans. The hatchling let go before then, though. The cloudiness in the hatchling's eyes faded as the fresh blood circulated. Kreskel released an overwhelming scent of parental pride, and the hatchling released an acknowledging scent. The other 2 hatchlings increased their mewling. They recognized they were missing something precious, in which their sibling partook. After Kreskel tossed the male boy aside, 2 females tended to him. Kreskel grabbed the seedling who had attacked Kreskel earlier. No, please don't kill her too, she's my last sibling, the other girl protested. Kreskel could have killed the girl for interrupting the tender moment. They settled for hissing at the seedling instead. Kreskel repeated the feeding process, but the girl put up more of a fight than her brother had. He had gone limp instantly. Kreskel considered killing her, but let that decision rest on the second hatchling. Again, the hatchling attacked, drank, and emanated acknowledgement of Kreskel's position as a parent. The second hatchling drank less than the first, and Kreskel tossed the girl away. The third human sibling understood her fate too late. She attempted to flee into the crowd, but Kreskel seized her by the back of her linen smock. The third hatchling wouldn't latch to the wound and hadn't searched for the blood.
Come on, take it. You need it to see.
Speaking such words aloud would prove useless. There wasn't a sense specific enough for the hatchling to understand either. When they opened their mouth, Kreskel opened a gash in the seedling's neck and poured the blood in until the third hatchling finished lapping the blood.
Finally.
Kreskel tossed the last girl to the side and collected the 3 hatchlings in a forearm again. The first, invigorated with fresh blood, fought Kreskel and tried to stand, but Kreskel contained them all to release a familiar scent once more. All 3 acknowledged their relations. Kreskel loathed to leave their hatchlings, but there was another meeting with the contact planned. Although there were still plans for future raids scheduled, Kreskel would not deny the contact's request. It had been a while since their last meeting anyway, so if the contact had any updated suggestions, Kreskel wanted to be sure to learn of them. Under the guise of conducting a recruiting venture, Kreskel departed the nest and traveled to the contact's cave. Having just carried a clutch, Kreskel's senses had improved. The complete darkness of the cave seemed brighter. Kreskel could barely make out the odd appearance of the contact. They held a translucent, amorphous shape, yet they were solid enough to pass off a rolled piece of parchment.
You need to strike deeper into the heart of Sylvain. You must assert your dominance over the humans of Coserai if you wish to carve out your permanent place in the oasis. These plans detail the formations required for raids against the individual terrains and layouts of each town.
Kreskel accepted the parchment and tested a claw against the contact. The claw passed through without catching on anything.
Understood.
Yet Kreskel didn't understand.
By what magic does this creature present itself to me? Why does it help me? And what is it? One of our gods? Or perhaps a shifter taking the form of a ghost, if such a thing is even possible. What does it want?
Kreskel would have pursued the line of questioning, but the contact had already vanished.